Hi again, and in today's video we're going to explore the answer to the question, does a parent's involvement influence athletic performance? Parents play a crucial role in athletic development of their child and even as that child becomes a young adult. To what extent and exactly how, that's what we're going to explore in today's video. First part of this video, we're going to talk about the importance of the emotional support parents supply their children in any endeavor, but in particular, we're going to talk about that emotional support and its role in athletic development. Second, we're going to look at how the parent can help shape the right environment, an environment conducive for developing the discipline, the accountability, the internal motivation, all of those things that are necessary for an athlete to fully develop their skills. Third, we're going to take a look at the dangers of an overzealous parent, about the dangers of going too far and being too demanding, and where that line may or may not be. Fourth, we're going to take a look at the balance and how can we go about balancing that need for providing that structure, that support, that discipline and motivation and all of those things, so that we aren't going too far and we aren't crossing that line into being the coach that they may need outside of that family environment. Lastly, we're going to look at some real life examples as we're going to look at a couple different famous athletes and their parental involvement and how their parents played into shaping their careers. So one of the most important roles a parent plays in the development of their child, this is whether it is a child athlete, whether they're in the performing arts, just academically, just in their development, is the emotional support that you play. It's real important for parents to be able to be positive with their child, learn how to communicate with their child, and every child's unique, right? They have their own kind of triggers and their own buttons that you need to try to figure out how to use to motivate them, to discipline them, to correct them, all those things that we have to do as parents. The philosophy, though, is to always be positive and be looking to interrupt negative patterns that you're seeing develop in your child, so that you are hoping to instill those positive beliefs that they need, the positive self-confidence that they need to be able to achieve in anything they do, in particular in athletics. So that emotional support is one of the most important roles that a parent will play, does play. They either do it directly or sometimes even in absentia. Now, along with that emotional support, parents are kind of responsible for setting an environment up where kids can be successful and grow successful. Again, this is true in any endeavor. And a lot of the work I do, I work with parents and I talk about trying to help their child develop rituals in their life, habits in their life, that self-discipline to follow through. These rituals and habits are incredibly important for athletic performance, but in any area of your life. Most of you who are listening to this, whether you're an athlete or not, need this sort of environmental structure. In this environmental structure, the parents also will need to be able to provide some of that accountability, right? When your child is getting involved in sports and they're showing that interest and that passion and even that talent for it, that encouragement you provide, that kind of, like, you know, if you want to be the best, you've got to put in some work, that sort of accountability to hold them to the goals that they want for themselves is really, really important for that development. And as the parent, that environment is kind of, it's up to you. It's up to you and your partner, your spouse, in order to establish those rules, those norms, and that environment that is conducive to growing and learning as a young person. Now, there is a fine line that parents need to be careful of, and some of it is dependent on their child, between pushing, prodding, holding them accountable, tough love that sometimes young people need, and being that overzealous parent who's volatile, pushing too hard, driving them to the breaking point. We've seen movies with that kind of parent, heard stories with that kind of parent. I've heard from a professional athlete who I've interviewed before, where that relationship he had with his dad, who was a military dad, was really frayed because he pushed too hard, was too vocal in the stands, too yelling, and that impacted his own psyche. And this athlete made it all the way to Major League Baseball. I've seen that in a number of cases where the parent was pushing the kid to the breaking point and didn't even recognize it. So it's real important for a parent to be willing to listen to other people as well, to really be in tune and watch their child. Again, there's this fine line between developing that perseverant mindset. So even when they want to quit, you help push them through that, because in any of these kind of workouts and trainings and things that athletes need to do, their mind is going to want to quit far before their body needs to stop. And it's that first initial breaking point, breakthrough, that they need a coach. They need that person to push them through that. They need that teammate. They need that synergy. So there's this fine line between helping your child get that breakthrough and experience that breakthrough, and being that parent who pushes too hard, pushes them to the breaking point. So how do you go about striking that balance? And there is no cookie cutter answer here. It is about awareness, and it's about paying attention to their child. It's about having conversations with them. It's about trying to find out their own level of motivation and passion for whatever it is they are pursuing. And if they have that, to encourage it, to hold them accountable for those goals that they want to have. And again, this isn't just about athletics. This is true in academics and performing arts and any area that the child wants to head, the direction they want to head in their life, is helping them deal with those mental aspect of the stressors and things that come from trying to get better and better and better. Right? This is why I talked so much about those habits earlier, and why it's so important for parents to play this, to kind of go through this with them, is because often we as adults need this, right? So it's that sort of awareness, open communication, conversations about what they want, how to get there, and being there, supporting, pushing, prodding as you need. Again, how hard you need to push, there's no cookie cutter answer for that. So that's just something you need to kind of develop that awareness and that sense through your own work with your child. A real life example, we're going to look at Julian Edelman and the Williams sisters. Julian Edelman, football player. The Williams sisters were tennis stars. And we're going to look at the role of their fathers played in their development. Julian Edelman, who was a 5'10", 195-pound slot receiver, 3-time Super Bowl champion, one of the great slot receivers during his era. And his father was demanding. His father pushed him and challenged him physically and mentally, told him he's going to have to get better. If he really wanted to pursue this dream of playing football at the highest levels, he would have to push himself not only physically, but mentally. And Julian's dad even had said that, boy, some of the drills he had him doing stuff some people would really probably look at it and go, oh my, he's going over the top kind of thing. But Julian credits those training, those drills, for giving him that toughness and that grit, that mental aspect that he needed in order to be a successful receiver in the NFL, 5'10", 195-pound slot receiver. So those trainings did what Julian needed, and his father also provided that emotional support because their relationship has been strong to this day. Right? That's one of those surefire signs, is that when they still maintain that bond, that the parent hasn't gone too far. The same can be said with Venus and Serena Williams, two of the greatest tennis players of all time, whose dad also pushed them mentally, challenged them mentally, pushed them so that they could develop those mindset skills and those beliefs that they would need to compete at that highest levels in tennis, a highly demanding mental game. But he also knew how to balance that out with the emotional support that they needed to grow. And again, proof of the pudding is not only their success, but the relationship that they apparently have with their father to this day. Please, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, check out all the other videos that we have. You might also be interested in registering for a free webinar, Enhance Your Performance. You can find that webinar with a link that's provided in the description for this video. You can go there, just look for that Enhance Your Performance webinar and register for that today. And I'll see you in the next video.